Welcome back to Untermeyer Gardens on behalf of both the City of Yonkers Parks Department and the Untermeyer Garden Conservancy. I'm Timothy Tillman, the head gardener. We just had our first hard frost last night, and it's a crazy day. You can see my headgear's changed. I no longer have the straw hat on. I have my muck boots on. We're putting away all our water features, all our irrigation, and all the tender annuals that just got hit by frost. We have a great gardening class helping us pull all the tender annuals out of the canals. We have just drained our canals. We have just harvested fish. We have buckets of fish sitting everywhere, getting ready to go down to the greenhouse to their winter home in a cattle trough, where they can stay warm and well oxygenated before they make the return trip. It's really a crazy busy day. You can see in the background as well, we have paving going on in the amphitheater. We inherited grass lawn up there, but we use it so much through our dance performances, and our visitorship levels are so high now that we're putting bluestone pavers across the amphitheater. I think it'll be an aesthetic improvement of the garden, and also certainly a logistical improvement of the garden as well. So a lot of people ask what we do when we're not growing plants. This is just an idea of how busy days can get now that we're getting into the cold and winter months. Here we are in late fall. So again, I mentioned we have cold temperatures last night, and we're looking at mid and upper 20s later in the week. So we really have to address all our water features in our irrigation. In the home landscape, maybe it's not as extensive as what we're doing here. We have a lot of leaf buildup and algae buildup. Last week we took all our pots, all our aquatic plants out of the pools and out of the canals. I can show you what we did with some of those. We have to take all our tropical aquatics to our greenhouse. Then we have some hardy aquatics that we store in a bonus pool at the Temple of Love. We'll take a look at that. And we actually, for our hardy terrestrial plants, we dig a trench and we heal them in over winter for that way. You can see we still have a lot of algae that's in the pool. We have to do a big cleanup. We're going to fill the canals with lights for illumination here within the next month. So as beautiful as this particular feature is in the middle of the summer, it takes a good 2-3 days of work to get it ready for the winter and our illumination. And I really can't talk about how busy we are in the walled garden today without pointing out a really exciting restoration that most of you, I hope, already know is going on, is the restoration of Untermeyer's original swimming pool, which we are calling the Persian pool. Glencar Water Gardens, who's helped us with so many of our projects, we love having them here, are responsible and taking charge of this project, where we've lifted the floor of Untermeyer's swimming pool up to more of a reflecting pool, and you can see the first pour that's gone in. We'll do another pour, and as we speak, mosaics are being cut and carved in Italy and will be shipped over, and we hope to have this done next year. So stopping to think a little bit about winterizing the garden, there's a lot of different things in play. And since we've already looked at the canals, I want to start here at this trench that we dug for all our hardy marginal plants. So not quite aquatic, not quite terrestrial. Think of a bog plant. There's a lot of iris in here, for instance. And we just dug a hole. We put the pots in here straight out of the canals and mulched them with a layer of hay. This is the second year we've been able to do this, but just getting these plants in the ground, they don't have to stay submerged and they won't dry out in this particular situation. So we're good for the winter, keeping them here. And it's not just the aquatics we had to worry about getting winterized. You see a big stack of pots over my shoulder here. All our tropical plants that we had throughout the garden. Some of the pots we were able to move directly to the greenhouse, but some things were mixed annuals and different tubers and some bulbs here and there. So we were able to extract all of the plants we want, all the root systems, those dahlias and the cannas, and take those down to the greenhouse and dry store them. And then we just empty those pots. And any plants that were just full of annuals alone, we were able to just dump into the compost pile. Again, thinking about winterizing with the aquatics, all our tropical things went to the greenhouse last week. Our hardy things we just saw in the trench in our service area. And finally, our hardy plants that do need to be submerged, which are largely water lilies and lotus, hardy water lilies and hardy lotus. We've figured out, Steve Burns, our president, said, why aren't we using our spillway at the Temple of Love to overwinter plants? It was a brilliant idea. We've done it for several years now. So we do keep part of the Temple of Love waterfalls full of this particular spillway, and you can just see the aquatic water lilies and a bit of lotus peeking above. We probably have pots stacked 2 and 3 and almost 4 deep in here. We will divide these plants in the spring, but they managed to do just fine through the winter in this particular location. So it is a bit of a shame to be shutting down all our water features while aspects of the garden still look really great. You can see behind me the asters are still in full color. There's lots of color throughout the cascade beds here. The ornamental grasses still look nice. There's good shapes and textures and structure. But with last night's hard frost and this week's anticipated freezing, we really do have to get ahead of the plumbing here at the garden. It does take us 2 or 3 days to get everything sorted. So you might want to start thinking about it in your own home garden as well. Make sure that you're not leaving anything vulnerable to the winter temperatures. But in the meantime, we're going to stay busy. We're going to keep the garden looking great. So keep visiting all winter long.